Russia pounds Kharkiv with missiles and drone strikes. Chinese economy grown more resilient. Happy New Year and thank you for joining us. You're watching the first edition of this year's World Today with me, Berita RTM. Plumes of smoke rose above Gaza seen from the Israeli side of the border as the sun set on Sunday and the year drew to a close. Israeli jets have intensified attacks on central Gaza and battles rage through the rubble of towns and refugee camps in a war that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said would take many more months to end. Netanyahu's comments signal to not let up in a campaign that has killed many thousands of leveled much of Gaza, while his vow to restore Israeli control over the enclave's border with Egypt raises new questions over an eventual two-state solution. Israel's air and artillery bombardment has killed more than 21,800 people, according to health authorities in Hamas-run Gaza. Many more were feared dead in the rubble, and nearly all of 2.3 million people in Palestine have been pushed from their homes. The Israeli military also said it will release some reservists who were called up to fight Hamas in Gaza, a move that it said would help the economy as the country prepares for a prolonged war. Now, Russia on Sunday said it attacked military facilities in the Ukrainian city of Kharkiv overnight, including a hotel housing military commanders and foreign mercenaries in response to Ukraine's strikes on Belgorod the previous day. In the first wave of Russia's attacks, at least 6 missiles hit Kharkiv, injuring at least 28 people and hitting residential buildings, hotels and medical facilities. Russia's statement said its attack hit the former Kharkiv Palace Hotel and the headquarters of the Ukrainian Security Service for the Kharkiv region. It said military and intelligence officers involved in Ukraine's attack on Belgorod had been among those killed. Closer to midnight, as part of a wider bombardment of Ukraine that also targeted Kiev, several waves of Russian drones hit residential buildings in Kharkiv's center, causing fires and city's mayor said. Yaroslav Gladkov, governor of the Belgorod region joining northern Ukraine, said the death toll from Saturday's Ukrainian rocket attacks on the regional capital had risen to 24. Both sides have increased attacks in the last week of 2023, with Russia killing at least 31 civilians in its biggest air assault of the 22-month war on Ukraine on Friday. Meanwhile, Russian President Vladimir Putin, facing an election in March, made only passing reference in his New Year address on Sunday to his war in Ukraine, hailing his soldiers as heroes, but mostly emphasizing unity and shared determination. The pre-recorded address, being aired just before midnight in each of Russia's 11 time zones, was in sharp contrast to last year's when he stood behind grim-looking soldiers to make a stern call for sacrifice. With all significant opposition forces suppressed, along with any expressions of political dissent, the 71-year-old is certain to win the election and extend his 24 years in power. Yet in his last few months, with the war largely deadlocked, he has toned down his previously strident nationalistic messaging on Ukraine and given more public attention to the economy and inflation issues likely to be closer to the hearts of voters. Ukraine was not mentioned by name, nor the special military operation, Putin's term for the war he unleashed in February 2022. The armed mutiny in June by late Yevgeny Prigozhin, leader of the Wagner mercenary group, was also notably absent from Putin's speech. Instead, Putin portrayed Russia and its people as united, supportive and firm in defending national interest, freedom and security. President Xi Jinping on Sunday said the Chinese economy had grown more resilient and dynamic in 2023, despite financial figures continuing to disappoint as the post-COVID recovery stalls. In a bullish New Year's address to the nation, he also promised that China would surely be reunified, a reference to the self-ruled island of Taiwan, which Beijing claims as its own and has pledged to seize. Xi has endured a challenging 2023 at the helm of the world's second-largest economy, with his administration struggling to sustain an economic rebound since rapidly dumping its onerous zero-COVID policy a year ago. But Xi said the economy had weathered the storm and become more resilient and dynamic than before, hailing the promotion of high-quality development and emerging industries such as electric vehicles, lithium batteries and solar panels. Yet he also acknowledged some hardship in the country. Record youth unemployment and persistent debt crisis in the crucial property sector have hammed in China's growth this year. Official figures released on Sunday showed a decline in nationwide factor activity deepened in December, the third straight month of contraction. Analysts have said Beijing may struggle to achieve its stated annual growth target of around 5%, the lowest such ambition in years. Now, the Democratic Republic of Congo President Felix Tshisekedi promised to never betray his country on Sunday after being re-elected for a second term with 73% of the votes cast in a fiercely contested election.
Je voudrais vous rassurer que ce deuxième mandat que vous venez de m'accorder sera dédié à plus d'actions pour la matérialisation de ces engagements et à
Logistical setbacks, an election day overrun, and an opaque vote count have fueled a dispute that threatens to further destabilize a country roughly the size of Western Europe, which is the world's top producer of cobalt and other prized industrial commodities. Since election day, some of Tshisekedi's main challenges, including former oil executive Martin Fayulu, have been calling for a rerun of the contest of legislative election, accusing CENI, the Independent National Electoral Commission, of allowing the vote to be tipped in the president's favor. Earlier on Sunday, a group of 9 opposition presidential candidates and 6 leaders of political parties asked supporters to take to the street to protest after the release of the provisional results. Still to come, Eurostar users warned of potential delays. Stay with us. Thailand's iconic countdown destination, Icon Siam, rings in the new year with an $8.5 million extravaganza on the 31st of December 2023. The event kicked off at its riverside location in what is billed as the most spectacular New Year show ever organized and vying to be one of the top 5 greatest global countdown events. The Amazing Thailand Countdown 2024 national event organized a 2,000 drone show and let off some 50,000 eco-friendly fireworks that will lit up the night sky, in addition to bringing together on its stages a gathering of great international and local singers and performers. Berlin ushered in the new year with fireworks over the German capital's landmark, the Brandenburg Gate, early on Monday, where tens of thousands of people celebrated the start of 2024. Up to 65,000 people gathered on the 17 Juni Boulevard on the western side of the gate, which once separated East and West Berlin until the fall of the Berlin Wall in November 1989. Meanwhile, in France, hundreds of thousands of people welcomed the New Year on the Champs-Élysées in Paris. The French ushered in the year of the Paris Olympic Games with a giant celebration leading up to the traditional fireworks display over the Arch of Triumph. The festivities took place under tight security measures put in place by French authorities. Setting a different tone, China held its national flag-raising ceremony in Beijing on Monday to welcome 2024. The national anthem played as a large crowd of spectators watched soldiers march into Tiananmen Square and raise the Chinese flag. The flag raisers ceremony takes place at different times throughout the year to accommodate for varying sunrise times. Eurostar on Sunday warned customers travelling from London of potential delays after flooding forced the cancellation all trains. Engineers had brought water in 2 tunnels in Kent in southern England under control, meaning that at least 1 tunnel was usable. However, Eurostar cautioned that there will be some speed restrictions in place in the morning, which may lead to delays, and stations are expected to be very busy. The company operates services from London to Paris, Brussels and Amsterdam. Travellers were left stranded on mainland Europe, while those at St. Pancras scrambled to find hotel rooms or make alternative travel arrangements. Some tourists said their New Year holiday plans had been ruined. A spokesman for HS1, which runs the route between London and the Channel Tunnel, said flooding was being resolved and the HS1 line will be operational in the morning. The company has not revealed what initially caused the flooding, which began Friday night when water filled tunnels near Abfleet International in Kent, blocking the high-speed rail line. The cause of the flooding will be investigated, but there was no evidence to suggest it was caused by a burst pipe feeding the tunnel's fire safety system, as had previously been suggested by a water company. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz yesterday visited towns and areas in Lower Saxony flooded by heavy rainfall. Visiting Verden on the Aller River, Scholz praised the emergency services, representatives of the authorities and citizens whom he said showed real solidarity. Scholz began his visit with a helicopter flight over the flooded area, accompanied by Lower Saxony's Minister Premier Stefan Weil. Local authorities said the floodwaters have not yet receded in Lower Saxony, with the worst affected areas on the Aller, Lane, Oke and Mittelweser. More rain is expected on Tuesday and Wednesday.
Wir stellen fest, dass es inzwischen in den südlicheren Landesteilen eine Entspannung gibt, aber umgekehrt. Wir sehen, dass in den nördlicheren Landesteilen Niedersachsens nach wie vor der Druck der Wassermassen ungeheuer groß ist. Wir sind sehr froh darüber, dass die Sicherungssysteme tatsächlich stabil sind und dass sie halten, aber wir wissen ganz genau, je länger der Druck des Wassers auf den Deichen liegt, desto größer ist das Risiko, dass doch noch diese Dämme dann brechen können.
Spain rescued 18 migrants by helicopter near Canary Islands on Sunday, of which 3 amongst them were dead. The Red Cross said on Saturday that a record 40,000 migrants have reached the archipelago this year on fragile boats from West Africa. Furthermore, regional authorities have said that the number was almost 10,000 more than during the 2006 small boat crisis, when 31,678 people made it to the Canaries. Spain's Coast Guard on Sunday took the 15 survivors to La Restinga port in El Hierro, the island with the highest number of arrivals in 2023, despite being the smallest one. Up to 14,000 migrants arrived there against a population of just 11,000. Meanwhile, another group of 99 migrants was rescued overnight and brought to El Hierro. The archipelago lies around 100 kilometers off Africa's west coast. Its 7 islands have become the main destination for migrants from Senegal and other African countries trying to reach Spain, fleeing conflict or seeking a better life. 2 months after being devastated by the deadly Hurricane Otis, tourists have slowly returned to the Mexican city of Acapulco for New Year's Eve. Acapulco's beaches and downtown streets have been cleared of rubbish and debris to welcome some 80,000 tourists coming to celebrate the New Year's Eve. Tourists were seen sunbathing and swimming on beaches around the port, which until 2 months ago was littered with the wreckage of boats destroyed by Hurricane Otis. Despite efforts to rebuild the city, several beaches looked empty and a small percentage of hotels have only partially recovered their infrastructure. Otis, the strongest hurricanes to ever hit Mexico's Pacific coast, hammered Acapulco in the early hours of 25th October last year, killing at least 50 people, causing billions of dollars in damage and sparking widespread looting. Business groups have estimated that damage at around $16 billion in Acapulco, which is biggest in the city in Guerrero, one of Mexico's poorest states. Now, Pope Francis on Sunday said the city of Rome has to improve its basic services for residents and visitors before the start of the 2025 Holy Year that is expected to draw tens of millions of pilgrims. Francis made his comments at the Vatican's traditional year-end Vespers of Thanksgiving, known as the Deum, about 6 hours before the start of the new year. Francis, 87, said the city in particular needs to become more user-friendly for the elderly and those with mobility problems. In most neighborhoods, particularly outside the center, wheelchair users and the elderly have to navigate their way around cars parked on sidewalks or blocking mobility ramps, usually with impunity for their owners. Francis said the city needs simple decorum and normal functionality because a more livable city for its residents is also more welcoming for everyone. Rome hosts a Holy Year, also known as Jubilee Year, at least every 25 years. Pilgrims flock to the city to pray at its many holy sites and receive special blessings. The city's notorious traffic has been made even worse recently because of construction sites in preparation for the 2025 Holy Year, including road underpasses and overdue extensions to its small subway system. Denmark's popular Queen Margaret II, Europe's longest-serving monarch and the last reigning queen after the death of Britain's Elizabeth II, is hailed for modernizing Danish royalty in her half-century on the throne. The chain-smoking 83-year-old and accomplished artist in her own right acceded to the throne at the age of 31 in January 1972 on the death of her father, Frederick IX. She announced on Sunday that she would abdicate on 14 January and pass the baton to her son, Crown Prince Frederick, citing her age and health issues. She underwent major back surgery in February 2023. She took the name Margaret II in recognition of Margaret I, who ruled Denmark from 1375 to 1412, but never formally held the title of queen. When she was crowned almost 52 years ago, only 45% of Danes were in favor of the monarchy, most believing it had no place in a modern democracy. But the cultured Margaret has managed to stay away from scandal and modernize the institution, allowing her two sons to marry commoners. The Danish monarchy is now one of the most popular in the world, enjoying the support of more than 80% of Danes. Margaret is also Europe's only reigning queen, although 4 countries, Belgium, the Netherlands, Spain and Sweden, have crowned princesses. Next in sports, Arsenal and 2023 with a disappointing defeat. Stay tuned. The Harimau Malaya squad under the guidance of Kim Pan-gon were all set to leave for Doha, Qatar early this morning to play in the 2023 Asian Cup scheduled to be held from 12 January to 10 February. The players and coaches look fresh and in high spirit as they took the opportunity to extend New Year greetings to fans and media personnel waiting for their arrival at the Kuala Lumpur International Airport Terminal 1 last night. The national squad left for Doha at 2:25 a.m. on Malaysia Airlines flight MH164. Malaysia, who ended a 42-year wait to qualify on merit for the Asian Cup, will begin their Group E campaign against Jordan on 15 January, followed by Bahrain on 20th January and two-time champions South Korea on 25th January. Harimau Malaya are targeting to create history by qualifying for the round of 16 after failing to clear the group stage in the 3 editions they participated in. Panggon's charges will first play Syria in an international friendly match in Doha on 8 January. The last time Malaysia played in the Asian Cup was when they co-hosted the tournament in 2007. Arsenal's Premier League title challenge suffered another blow in a 2-1 defeat at Fulham last night as Tottenham beat Bournemouth 3-1 to close in on their North London rivals. The Gunners' high hope of a first league title in 20 years have been rocked by 2 damaging defeats in 4 days. Mikel Arteta was looking for a response after losing 2-0 at home to West Ham on Thursday, but was left angered by what he described as his side's worst performance of the season. Arsenal had started brightly at Craven Cottage as Bukayo Saka pounced to tap home his first goal in 6 games after Benleno parried Gabriel Martinelli's initial effort. But the visitors failed to build on their early advantage and Fulham hit back to snap a 3-game losing run in the Premier League without even scoring a goal. Raul Jimenez was badly missed during his 3-game ban for a red card at Newcastle, and the Mexican kickstart the Fulham fight back with his 4th goal in as many games. Arsenal failed to clear a corner, and the ball broke kindly for Bobby the Cordova raid to smash home from close range in the second half. Arsenal remain in 4th, 2 points behind leaders Liverpool, at level on 40 points with Manchester City, but having played a game more than both their title rivals. Arsenal could even be outside the top 4 by the time they are next in league actions in 3 weeks' time, as Tottenham close to within a point of the Champions League places. Ange Postecoglou's men shrugged off a mounting injury crisis to inflict Bournemouth's first defeat in 8 games. 5th place Spurs are just 3 points off the top with the table tantalizingly poised heading into 2024. Pape Sarr's precise finish into the bottom corner opened the scoring after just 9 minutes. But the Senegalese midfielder left the field in tears midway through the first half with an injury that puts his participation in the upcoming Africa Cup of Nations in doubt. Song Heung-min is also set to depart for a few weeks to lead South Korea at the Asian Cup. The Spurs captain signed off in style with a thumping finish from a narrow angle before Richarlison made it 3-0. Alex Scott pulled the goal back 6 minutes from time, but it was too little too late for the Cherries, who remain in 12th. Novak Djokovic closed out his spectacular 2023 on a winning note as the world number 1 eased past China's Zhang Zishan 6-3, 6-2 on his United Cup debut yesterday before doubling up to secure a 2-1 victory for Serbia in the mixed team tournament. Danilovic and seal a 6-4, 1-6, 10-6 victory against Zhang and Zhang. Meanwhile, Taylor... Now in another match, Canada fought back to seal the United Cup Group B tie against Chile with a victory in the decisive mixed doubles. Chile's Thomas Barrios Vera and Daniela Seguel were 8-6 ahead and 2 points from the winning the match tie-break set before Steven Diaz and Leila Fernandez rallied to win the match 7-5, 4-6, 10-8 to claim the tie for Canada. Fernandez had given Canada the lead in the opening match with a comfortable 6-2, 6-3 victory over Seguel. Nicolas Jarry then leveled the tie for Chile with a 7-5, 6-4 win over Diaz, who was replacing the injured Felix Auger-Aliassime in the singles to set up the deciding mixed doubles encounter. Rafa Nadal refused to rule out playing beyond the 2024 season as he returned from a hip injury that sidelined him for nearly a year, but the Spaniard admitted there was also a high percentage chance he may not return next summer. The 22 times Grand Slam champion had arthroscopic surgery on the iliopsoas muscle in his left hip in June after sustaining an injury during his second round defeat at the 2023 Australian Open by Mackenzie McDonald.
I don't know if my body will allow me to be competitive. I mean, not in a way to win the most important events, but the way that makes me happy, feel myself competitive to go on court and to feel that I can compete against anyone. No, doesn't matter at the end of the day if I win or not.
The Brisbane tournament is a tune-up for the Australian Open during the height of the country's summer. Nadal plays Australia's Dominic Thiem in his Brisbane singles opener on Tuesday, a blockbuster rematch of their 2018 and 2019 French Open title clashes, both of which the 37-year-old Spaniard won.
Without enough qualified social workers, people with disabilities who are already marginalized might become more vulnerable to other social issues.
All right, so that ends our bulletin today. Wrapping up with a recap of our top story. Russia pounds Kharkiv with missiles and drone strikes. Tune in to Malaysia Tonight coming up at 8:30 p.m. on TV1 and saluran Berita RTM. From river to the sea, Palestine will be free. May the new year bring you exciting opportunities and endless possibilities. I'm Syuhaida Arifin, Malaysia Madani, Tekad Perpaduan Penuh Harapan.